This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. I'm filling in for Sean today, who's out on a media launch with one of the car companies. How's that old adage go? When one door slams shut, another one pops open? Well, that just happened at Stellantis. Carlos Tavares stepped out as CEO last week, and yesterday, Tim Kuniskis stepped back in. Not as CEO of the company, but as CEO of Ram. Earlier this year, Kuniskis abruptly left the company along with a string of other execs who apparently did not get along with Mr. Tavares. But with the company melting down in front of its eyes, the board of directors decided it needed a proven winner back running what is probably the most profitable brand in the company. Dealers loved Kuniskis and what he did for the Ram and Dodge brands, and they're thrilled to see him back. And of course, everybody in the industry is now wondering, will some of those other execs who got pushed out now make their way back to the company? Okay, let's jump over to China, where Porsche is taking drastic action to prop up its operations as sales are falling at an alarming rate. Last year, sales fell 15%. This year, they're down by nearly 30%. So Porsche is getting rid of 1/3 of its dealerships in China, which will leave it with only 100 stores there. Dealers have been desperate to try to move the metal, discounting some cars as much as 35%. And the last thing Porsche needs is a bunch of unprofitable dealers competing against each other to see who can cut prices the fastest. In Germany yesterday, Porsche announced it's going to make YouTube available as a standard feature in almost most of its models. That will help attract younger buyers to the brand, but it's not going to help it in China, since YouTube and all other Western social media on the internet is blocked by the Great Firewall of China. And while we're in China for the moment, Tesla seems to be worried that it's losing its standing in the world's largest car market as Chinese competitors eat into its market share. And so it's diverting cars that were to be exported to be sold in China instead. Last month, Tesla's exports from China fell 81% from the prior month and are down 68% from a year ago. Tesla's China's ops usually concentrate on exports in the first half of a quarter and on the domestic market in the second half, but clearly Tesla is concentrating on the China market earlier than it normally does. And just to show you some of the competition that Tesla faces in China, Xiaomi is going to launch its first SUV next year, and it's clearly targeted at Tesla's Model Y. Keep in mind that 90% of Tesla sales in China are with the Model Y, so this is a serious threat. Xiaomi will launch the YU7 sedan and SUV with base prices under $30,000. And you'll remember it was a version of Xiaomi's SU7 called Ultra that smashed the Tesla Model S Plaid's lap time at the Nurburgring just a couple of months ago. Speaking of the Nurburgring, the Mustang GTD just lapped the track in less than 7 minutes, which is something of a gold standard for performance cars. Specifically, it turned in a lap of 6 minutes, 57 seconds, and 685 thousandths of a second. Ford was quick to brag. That was the fastest time ever from an American manufacturer. So take that, Tesla, Corvette, and Camaro. But like they say in those commercials, wait, there's more. Ford CEO Jim Farley said, "We are not satisfied. We know there's much more time to find with Mustang GTD. We'll be back."
There's nothing wrong with heavy metal.
Hey, lighten up.
But with world-class composite material, Teijin Automotive Technologies makes vehicles lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly.
Tesla's head of investor relations, Travis Axelrod, revealed some interesting details about its low-cost model and robo-taxi at a meeting yesterday with Deutsche Bank. The company confirmed it will launch its robo-taxi service in California and Texas next year. It will be a company-owned fleet that will, at least initially, be backed by human teleoperators for safety and redundancy purposes. Tesla will also develop its own app for the ride-hailing service. Axelrod also told Deutsche Bank that it will launch another model in the first half of next year that starts below $30,000, but that includes subsidies. Deutsche Bank referred to the EV as the Model Q, but that's not its official name. The company is also planning a long wheelbase, 3-row version of the Model Y, but that's only for China. Tesla expects that new models will increase its volumes by 20 to 30% over the next year. The European Union is desperate to be a player in the EV battery business and not have to depend on China. But so far, its efforts are failing. As we've been reporting, the Northvolt battery plant is going bankrupt. Bloomberg reports that 11 out of the 16 European-owned battery plants have been delayed or canceled. Meanwhile, 10 out of 13 planned battery plants from Asian companies, mainly from China, are on track to open. European battery companies are struggling to ramp up production, and they cannot match prices with the Chinese. So now European automakers are starting to partner with Chinese battery companies. Stellantis and CATL announced a joint venture to build lithium iron phosphate batteries at a Stellantis facility in Spain. The 4.1 billion euro plant, that's about $4.3 billion, will start producing batteries at the end of 2026 and could reach up to 50 gigawatt hours of capacity. The automaker says the batteries will be used to power passenger vehicles in the B and C segments of its lineup. You know, it's getting a lot cheaper to ship cars around the world. According to Clarkson Research Services, rates for ships that can carry 6,500 vehicles dropped below $100,000 per day for the first time since September of 2022. And prices are expected to continue to slide over the next few years because the fleet of car-carrying ships will grow 12% next year, while demand for those ships is only expected to grow 1%. Toyota released the specs this morning on its update of the 4Runner. This is the 6th generation of the SUV, and it's expanding the line with a hardcore off-road version called the Trail Hunter and an upscale version called Platinum. You know, at a time when most of the industry is trying to eliminate as many build variations as possible to simplify their manufacturing operations, Toyota is going in the opposite direction. The 4Runner is now available in 9 different models. And to cash in on Toyota's dominance with hybrids, the 4Runner gets a 2.4-liter turbo hybrid as its standard engine. It cranks out 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque and gets an EPA rating of 26 miles per gallon on the highway. But if that's not enough power for you, there's a more powerful version of that engine which delivers 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque and also delivers 6,000 pounds of towing capacity. Prices start a bit over $42,000 for the base models and top out over $68,000 for fully loaded versions. Anyway, that brings us to the end of today's report. Thanks for making Autoline Daily a part of your day, and check in again tomorrow when we'll have more breaking news of what's going on in the global automotive industry.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering boost your game. And by Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility.
Developing today's vehicles. Issues can happen in an instant. When's the best time to solve a problem? The minute you know you have one. Meet Wireless NeoVi Cloud, your secure, off-the-shelf solution empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With Wireless NeoVi Cloud, your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless NeoVi Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
Performance that shines, even in the rain. That's what really matters. Bridgestone Potenza tires, improved grip in wet conditions.